Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Refracted Curvature, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Yo, let's get it on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We'll have to figure out what's causing John's mic to go pop every time he says anything. He goes... We'll see if he does it again. Hey, John.
Damn it.
Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge that's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curve?
How can you have a horizon if you're on a globe? It don't work. Earth is flat.
Yeah, if you want to get a detailed explanation for the slope-a-dope, which is an explanation of why you can't have a horizon, as it's described and defined, on a sphere, a difference in elevation or a deviation from zero is what you describe if you have a slope or a curve, whereas horizontal has no deviation. So to describe what is a horizon on a globe is not possible. So check that out on Quantum Eraser's channel. I think the title of the video is called Slope-a-Dope.
Right,
That's correct.
The horizon is not physical, though. It's just its orientation is useful. It's horizontal. It's surface level, and it's used as such.
Well, there's a bone of contention in that regard. Surface level is the surface. So in the respect that what it gives you at an optical dissolution point is the nature of the physical ground beneath your feet, which you can correct to if you're using the horizon. That is to say, you correct to the ground level with dip correction. Therefore, you are using an aspect of physical reality. However, and Adam's right on this score, you are still describing and using an optical dissolution point to level your tool, which then will require correction. But the only reason you can acquire that level with that tool, that would be the sextant, is because the ground is flat, because you can acquire a horizontal plane of reference with the ground. So it does have a slight amount of ambiguity in it. It doesn't really benefit our opponents on the globe side. It's very much an internal, what would you call this? It's not a dispute. I wouldn't give it such a strong label.
It's a debate.
Wouldn't call it
It's
debate
actually
either.
a debate.
It's just semantics. It's somebody in the chat said iron sharpens iron while we were discussing it. You're like, yeah, but when you're sharpening the blades, you're not in battle, are you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an internal refinement.
An internal refinement as opposed to a disagreement, debate, or anything particularly. It is contentious. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Hello?
There's a contentious point being discussed. Therefore, it is a debate. And this is flat earth debate. And it's really just two flat earthers debating a point about flat earth.
Yeah, because globers have no seat at the table.
Hello?
Who's saying hello?
Hi, I just wanted to say, I think it would be pertinent for us as aware people to discuss the fact that the globe is a line has never been proven, and the level stationariness of our land is the only thing that can and has ever been proven. So really, there is no debate or discussion.
Yeah, someone said that in my comments recently, and I completely agreed with them. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of how we can internally interact about this subject. It's not a debate. We're not talking about, how do you phrase it, John? It's a what is question or something along those lines.
Yeah, it's not a matter of process like Adam and Ryan are debating at the moment. It's not a matter of process, it's a matter of what is. It's not debatable.
Once you understand what is in terms of the nature of the ground, and in appreciation of what is, you can utilize in practical ways the ground, then you're not in a position where you can have that challenged. You're like, that's how it's being used, that's how it's being utilized, that's how it's built on, that's how it's navigated, that's how it's mapped, that's how it's charted, that's what the world is. But when you know that's what it is, it stops being a point of contention. So on screen now, the reason you can get around with angles measured to stars to navigate with is because the ground is flat. So it's a prerequisite at that point. It's not a contentious, debatable point. It's needed for their claim too. It's needed to claim that you're on a sphere. As we were going through Matan Even in the pre-show, we maybe will get into that in a little bit more in a bit in the live show. But it's not debatable. And if you're making a globe claim, as was a couple of times in the pre-show from Matan Even, you can point out where their globe claim also required measurements of a Earth that's flat. So yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter which way you describe. You can describe in Italian, in French even, but either way, you're going to describe a flat horizontal plane of reference.
And the globe is literally impossible and has never been proven or shown.
Well, to take that one step further, the reified globe that's been mentally put into existence off the back of measurements of a flat Earth. So that reified sphere that people believe they are standing on cannot be proven, and paradoxically cannot exist in the first instance, therefore deemed reification, because of the way it's been measured to bring it into existence. Measuring a radial value off a flat Earth and then saying, well, that's a spherical value, doesn't make the ground spherical. Going up a mountain that you've just got the height of.
Sorry.
Going up a mountain that you've just got the height of, in the case of Al-Biruni, to then say the difference between my eye level and the surface level I just measured flat can be inferred to mean the ground is falling away, and with trig I can derive a radial value for that ground I just measured flat falling away. It's paradoxical in the most simplest of terms, to the point where people who talk about things like Al-Biruni's measurement of the Earth's radial value, supposed to be spherical, describe how his measurement of the height of the mountain is with respect to a horizontal plane. It can only be measured that way. Like everything's measured. It's all with respect to sea level. Everything, everywhere. That's how the world is.
Yeah, but now you're going to see a resurgence. My brother showed me a video last night. I think it was Serbia or somewhere, where all of a sudden there's a shower of rocks from space. Not just there, in various parts of the world. We have rocks falling from space.
Well, you say rocks falling from a presuppositional sky vacuum. Again, it doesn't matter what you claim is going up to or coming down from a sky vacuum. We don't have a sky vacuum.
Also, the idea that something's falling down to the Earth requires it to be a flat plane as well. So,
Oh, dear.
how's this helping?
It doesn't. But, you know, there's a tendency to insert things into a narrative with the claim only ever being used to affirm the consequent rather than beg the question. The beg the question of a sphere Earth or a sky vacuum in this instance is automatically assumed. So it is therefore automatically assumed that the world is a sphere and the sky is a vacuum. And then to affirm the consequent, look at these rocks coming from the sky. Now, that may or may not be the case, doesn't matter either way, because you're just going to affirm the consequent with it. Well, rocks from sky, therefore sky vacuum, Earth a sphere in a sky vacuum. So therefore, you're never attacking the original premise that's assumed by all through brainwashing, through being taught as a kid that you're on a ball in a sky vacuum. That part of the affirming the consequent fallacy is automatically assumed. Therefore, you only need the secondary item to affirm the consequent. And the secondary item can always take place in physical reality. Doesn't have to. You can make it up if you want, but you can just demonstrate something in physical reality. Therefore, to descend to absurdium, if Earth's a sphere in a sky vacuum, then we'll have clouds right above our heads. Check it out, clouds right above our heads. Therefore, sky a vacuum and Earth's a sphere. Well, what are you going to attack?
Nathan, you're missing it. Hold on. You're missing
nearly
it.
there, bloody hell. Therefore, what are you going to
stop.
attack? Let's try for a third time. Therefore, what are you going to attack? You're going to attack the Q statement. Oh, are you suggesting that there aren't any clouds? The Matan Even guy did it in the pre-show. They're talking about space and travelling to it and getting pictures from it. And then when the flat earther, Stooge, challenges that, he says, are you suggesting the moon isn't real? Why? Because you affirm the consequent that the sky is a vacuum with a moon that you can travel to. So the moon's real, the Q statement, but the affirming the consequent begging the fallacies, begging the question fallacy is only complete by your automatic assumption that Earth is a sphere and a sky vacuum, affirmed by the moon. For whatever reason, because it's a sphere, no, you've only got two-dimensionality, libration aside. But that affirming the consequent fallacy is what they lean on in every single instance. So you never attack the original premise, you just assume it. And if you attack it by virtue of being a flat earther or being able to decry it like we do with the second law of thermodynamics, you'll only ever be challenged on the Q statement. Is the moon real? I'm looking at it. Well, you're saying it's not real. No, I'm saying the sky's not a vacuum for us to travel to what you think is a rock in a sky vacuum in violation of that law. Does it mean the bloody moon isn't real? No, but you've been trained well to automatically assume that which you're actually begging the question of, a sphere Earth in a sky vacuum, because that's automatically true to all your funded estimations for all you bull-believing audience members. As I've been talking about.
That was not nearly done, okay? Number one, you're missing a point. They were, small rocks, and it was a major shower. But if that was, say, the size of, I don't know, a small city, it would be devastation. The world would end, Nathan.
It's an appeal to the future fallacy.
But like Nathan said, their whole globe lie relies on dogma and reification. And also, when I'm talking to these globe earthers, they like to insult. But it's funny because they say to me that clearly I don't understand physics when their entire model is an inversion of logic.
There's a lot to unpack there. They tell you don't understand physics, but physics is science. Physics is the study of the physical and natural world. Natural science, the scientific method. So when they tell you that you don't understand physics, that's projection on their part, because what they'll be claiming won't be scientific in nature. But they will say it's science. You just don't understand science, is what they're saying to you.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because there's so many points that I think that's the entire purpose of the globe model. It's a new world order, anti-logic, anti-God, a view of reality that it turns people basically into moronic zombies because they're holding um, they're holding ideas that counter each other. I forget what that's called, cognitive dissonance. But it's like they're thinking that reality is something that it couldn't be, and I think that's the point.
I wanted to share with everyone my latest experience with my favorite astronaut, Don Pettit.
Sure.
So last Friday on the 24/7, the guys called 24/7 Flat Earth Debate, that is. The guys, they called the ISS, and guess who answered the call? Don Pettit. It went on a long story talking about harnesses, how they using high wire in the ISS. And then he ended up by saying that someone was interrupting him, one of his colleagues, by waving his hand and jumping up and down. So I asked him, how do you jump up and down in the ISS? I asked 5 times the same question and no answer. He says he doesn't understand the question. I thought that he was debunking the notion that they were in outer space by the fact that someone is jumping up and down. But then they didn't answer any more the phone call. So yeah, an answer still to be a question still to be answered by Don Pettit.
I'd rather know how they presume to be in a sky vacuum when that violates natural law. I mean, if I was talking to Don Pettit and he's claimed to have been out in space on the ISS, I'd just flat out call him a liar. I'd say, why are you lying to the whole world about going out to a sky vacuum? No such thing exists. Why are you lying? That would be my first question to him. Why are you lying to the whole world?
Exactly. That's what I mean. It none of it makes any sense. It's all impossible. So how can they defend what's impossible and then think that they have the moral high ground defending the impossible?
I'll tell you why. Because they brainwashed everybody since they were children.
Yeah, that might be true, and I don't dispute that. But in the case of Don Pettit, we've got very specific. It's few and far between the people that we can actually directly point a finger at and say, you are a liar. I know you are lying. He's one of them.
Like Chris Hadfield?
Yes, he's one. Anybody that's claimed to have been to space is a liar.
Right, but what I think George was doing was using Don Pettit's own words.
Yeah, Don said he jumped up and down in the ISS, and according to their rhetoric, within the heliocentric paradigm where there are men in a sky vacuum working along geodesics in space-time invented in a pseudo-geometry by Einstein in a violation of natural law, he jumped up and down. What happened to your gravity? Well, 6 steps into a begging the question fallacy, which is why I said I wouldn't really care about his words about jumping up and down, trying to get him a gotcha in his paradigm. Your old paradigm's fake.
Up and down.
Go on,
I think John's got a point.
Down. Up and down is only relative to a horizontal plane of reference.
Is that where you're going,
But
George?
he can't.
Yeah.
I didn't spot that. I love it when I feel dumb over these things. Hold on, let's have George. Can you just explain to John what you were trying to get him a gotcha on? Because I missed it completely. I love it. I miss it every time. I love it.
Well, not only the nonsense of gravity and floating in outer space, the up and down cannot exist, but for the description of up and down, you need a baseline for that. You need a flat plane for that. How do you jump up and down? The answer should be clear. You need a starting point.
Just the mere description. Go ahead, John. Just can you expand on this so the audience understands? I understand now. That's why I'm smiling ear to ear.
Up and down is always in the vertical plane, and the vertical plane is always 90 degrees with respect to a horizontal plane. There are no horizontal planes on a sphere. It's nonsensical. If they were claiming, they should have been claiming I jumped in and out. But when you say it that way, it makes no sense.
Exactly, in and out.
Yeah, that's correct.
They need relativity for everything.
Yeah, but you're never going to describe it in a colloquial manner. You're right. They should lean on relativity if they're going to lean on anything, right? Yeah, I agree. But that's within their rhetoric to be accurate within their rhetoric. But you don't tend to reference things within rhetorics. You reference things within reality, don't you? So when people, it's another tell for the lying astronauts because they don't have that frame of reference of perpetual motion round a sphere in an orbit. They don't ever achieve that. It's a lie. They've never done it. So they've got to comprehend it in a way that they reference to reality. And when they do, they leak their real reference because that's the only way to describe up and down with respect to a horizontal plane.
Yeah, even for their parabolic motion of the ISS, that's distance relative to the ground, to the surface. So how many miles above is in relationship to the surface?
All roads lead to a flat Earth. Any description you get from your opponent that's professing to be a globe proof will start its life with its origins in a flat Earth measurement. There are no exceptions. Go on, John.
Yeah, even when you look at the ISS from a ground perspective with your eyes, let's say, or with a lens, it's way too big for the distance that they tell you it is. And also, couldn't they just turn the camera around and show the Earth, and then possibly zoom in, let's say, to the bottom and show people walking upside down and ships and cars upside down?
That is
That's
so
upside down.
2014.
But upside down.
Yeah,
Down is relative to a horizontal plane.
got it.
What would that be proving?
I caught it that time. All of these references need a flat Earth. Okay, right, we're going to get into the video. So we were doing this in the pre-show. Fun was had by all. Check it out if you remember when it gets released just after the live show ends. But this is a guy who's made its way up the YouTube ranks in next to no time by bashing OnlyFans sex workers for being stupid. So in one particular example, he challenged an OnlyFans, whatever you call them, actor, let's just say, whether or not she could read. She's like, of course I can read. He said, name 10 books. She couldn't. She kept naming movies. And the one that she named was, I think it was Lord of the Rings. And the book has got a very different title, which he happened to know. But yeah, based on that, he's been working his way through idiots of YouTube, let's just call them, influence of various different intelligence levels, mostly on the lower end of the scale. And now he's got this guy in front of him who's professing to be a flat earther, but to my estimation is only regurgitating with a feigned confidence that equals his feigned confidence about general YouTube stuff, like who PewDiePie is and various other stuff. It's all at the basic same level of confidence, which in my estimation makes me think this guy's a stooge, the guy on the left who's the flat earther. And whether or not that's relevant isn't that important. It doesn't matter if he is or if he proves to be a genuine flat earther. It doesn't make any difference to what I'm trying to use him with the idea of him being a stooge as, which is to say that what he's doing as a flat earther is regurgitating the surface puke of flat earth back at his opponent, Matan in this instance, so that they can bat off each other with very fundamental heliocentric premises in place while they debate. For example, the notion that we have a sky vacuum, which violates natural law, for people to go and take pictures from. So in the pre-show, that was one of the things we covered, them talking about whether or not they should have had more photos from the sky vacuum. More people should be up in the second law of thermodynamics violation that we think of as outer space to take pictures. Hence us discussing how, no, astronauts are liars. They claim to have been to a sky vacuum, they're liars. Anyway, we'll continue with this. Hopefully it'll generate a bit of chit-chat in the live stream chat. As always, there's a call to action. I'll stick a link in the YouTube chat now. Please let Matan Even know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. We responded to your video.
I forget which one specifically, but he went up very, very high.
How many feet?
I don't know the number, to be completely honest. I don't want to try to guess and then it'd be wrong, but
Sure.
he went up to the point where he could see that it wasn't like a flatness. It wasn't a circular. It was
Did you take pictures?
Yeah,
that
so
wasn't on a fisheye lens that distort the curvature.
That's exactly what.
See, surface level regurgitation of flat Earth talking points. So he's gone up and he's seen Earth curve. We debunked Earth curve in 2020. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 59 miles, then every distance to horizon measurement, that's what they're calling Earth curve, could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as dictated by their Earth curve maths. The distance to horizon in the black swan is beyond 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere, and the horizon is not Earth curve. We have debunked it based on geometry. What's the talking point and argument on the table? He went up really high into space, took a picture of Earth curve. It wasn't flat. A curve in the horizon defined the fundamental principles of what a horizon is. No, he definitely did not. But what's the rebuttal? I had a fisheye lens. All lenses are essentially curved for a start, but it's not the argument. The argument is that he's gone up to space, and both sides of this discussion accept that. Go on, whoever that was.
He went up? No, not on a sphere. He didn't.
every time. Brilliant. I could kiss you, John. I miss it every time. When am I going to start catching them at the outset? You want to just expand on that so the audience know what we're talking about? It's currently an in-joke.
Oh, yeah. Up is relative to sea level, a horizontal plane of reference. So when they're talking about his altitude up, it's flat Earth that you need to describe up.
I caught it. Anytime they say up and down
Up
now,
and down
that's
is a
it.
deviation.
Up and down is the trigger
a
word.
deviation from.
Go
Yeah,
on, George.
it's
Sorry.
a deviation
Just
from.
one more time,
that
Rumpus.
baseline.
I'm rumpusing you so I can start with a proper start for you, George. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the up and down is a deviation from the horizontal plane.
Yeah. I just need to learn the trigger word better. I hear up and down and I don't immediately think, hey, you'll need a flat earth for that.
What happened? And then there's a conspiracy I'll go over after with him. He went up there. He realized that he was wrong. And at this point, he was live streaming. Well, actually, no, I don't think it was live streaming. It was live streaming to his home, which was, I believe, automatically...
God, is nobody monitoring this? There's like 4 or 5 people in the room. And yet nobody's monitoring the fact that his mic is 1/8 of an inch away from him grunting down it while the host is about 6 inches away talking at a normal level. So what we're hearing is... That's what we're getting to hear. Like, where's the guy who's listening to this? I managed to do it on my own with about 30 people around me. This guy's got separate mics for his guests, and we still have to listen to the idiot who's got it 1/4 of an inch away from his mouth grunting.
Posted, I don't remember.
I find it hard to believe you don't know who PewDiePie is. The fact that you're saying
Well,
that,
actually-
I just think you're full of shit at this point.
Meanwhile, outer space is fake. The sky is not a vacuum. It violates the second law of thermodynamics. There's no pictures coming from space. There's no moon travel. There's no Mars travel. All of the people who claim to have been there are liars. And all of the measurements and telemetry that would claim to have gotten them there would have been measured off a flat plane in every respect. There you go. But let's argue about whether or not Matan knows who PewDiePie is.
Point.
Well, actually,
If you say you don't know who PewDiePie
I actually
is.
have a good one to prove whoever this guy, I don't know who he is. We were off the podcast, you asked me if I knew Sneeko. I said, I know Sneeko because
You
I know him.
Sneeko, yeah.
But I said, I don't really watch any, like, social media.
I mean, if you're on YouTube and you have
I think this guy
650
is
PewDiePie,
So he went up very high.
He's
I don't
really
know.
chill.
Say again.
I think he's a Mossad agent, Israeli shill.
A Mossad agent, an Israeli shill.
Absolutely.
Okay, then. Let's just try and stick to the arguments about flat Earth, if you don't mind.
The exact mileage. He realized he was wrong. The footage was posted.
Good morning, guys.
He became
Hey, Chocolate.
like the biggest clown of the week, and he ended
Okay.
up committing suicide.
so
very sadly.
Did you want to add something
Sorry,
else, Carl?
Nathan. I just said that because I do believe that that's relevant. It goes toward the point that I was making originally, that the lie is pushed by the mainstream and by the industry because it's part of the agenda and it's part of a specific New World Order agenda that goes along with, let's say, other international affairs that people could probably understand.
Really? Would it end in consortiums and groups that are controlling us and keeping us under control and influencing the lives
Of course,
through
that
social
kind of
media,
thing.
things like that? Yeah. Can you-
Yeah, and also for example, what's going on in Palestine today.
Okay. The problem with this, though, Kyle, no offense, is we can't provide cast iron proof for any of it. It's speculation and about motivation for why we've been lied to. Now, in a very general way, I can say, like all of this type of information, or indoctrination, I should say, it's done to control us. But that's obvious. Most people can realise that these things have been put in place. Doesn't matter which subject matter we're in politically, flat Earth or Palestine. They're done to control us. And I can leave it at that because in the last month, I've been banging a drum that says, stick to things we can prove beyond all doubt. Now, from a YouTube perspective, this is actually a bit counterproductive because there's less glitz, less glamour, less speculation, less excitement. when I say, yeah, we've already mapped it flat, here's an example. Here's the new world. Here's an older map that didn't have it on. Both are flat. Both are using a system that's come from the stars that's flat. Here's how it works, flat. Here's how the globe used that flat system to make their globe. None of it's particularly exciting once you know it. Now, if you haven't heard that before, you are going to have a brown trousers moment when you hear that stuff. Yeah? If you have let Matan know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, and he came and listened to this, he would, let's not be crude about it, he would be surprised, let's just say. But once you know what the world is, that's it. Yeah? Most people who've come along a conspiratorial path to this subject want more than that. The excitement that was offered to them on the plate that is flat Earth was, at the time it was presented at least, a dish that was conspiratorial in nature, that had a lot of potential, because it's breaking an established paradigm that you thought was true when you found the information out. But that means that there's a taste for more conspiracy moving forward. Now, our counterparts in flat Earth have offered up stuff like ether and free energy, and there's various other examples that work outside the paradigm of a globe Earth, but essentially offer up a similar level of fantasy, if I'm honest. Well, when it comes to things like Palestine or the media propagandized information that we are trained to do certain things with as a society, we can, when we go down those rabbit holes, offer quite a lot of credence to those suggestions, but it's not cast iron proof. Maps that show where the world has expanded out as a flat territory, there's no ambiguity there. And I don't look like a conspiratard when I say it. So, as much as I do want to discuss this, I don't want to do it on a flat Earth show, because I want to train my audience, limited in numbers that they will be, because some of them won't like the fact I'm not offering them fantasy or offering them explanations for some of the crazy other shit that goes on in the world, like we're attempting to do in this discussion, Kyle.
Right, Nathan, and please excuse me. It's just I want to point that out, because if you follow conspiracies like many do, and which brought me to this specific one, flat Earth, and you learn about the New World Order, you learn about also international power consolidation, and let's say the historic Havara Agreement that led to the modern political geographic situation there, and important. People have alluded to the overt American-Israeli influence, also Mossad's to do with 9/11, Jewish media consolidation, Bolsheviks in Russia and China, etc.
Come on. Now you're dealing in
point it out.
politics here.
Look, this is something that we did just... I went through this. If you go back and listen to the interviews I did, Neil, back in, whatever it was, 2015, 2016, you'll listen to me asking people about this stuff, and they'll give me their research, like Kyle's very dutifully doing. And he sees that it's connected. He's given it in a geographical context, so he can try and tie it to the subject, and I commend him for doing so. But when I've literally just given my spiel about how we have walked... Me too, by the way, Kyle. I got here through conspiracy too, as did almost all of us. I'm just trying to stop the people who have come along a conspiratorial path from then taking a subject that is what is about the Earth and turning it into conspiracy when it doesn't need to be. Now, I understand that those are interesting talking points that might satisfy, in a different forum, people's yearning to know why they've been lied to. Once they know, and I want that to be my part, once they know there is no doubt in their mind that Earth is measured flat and that the sky is not a vacuum, once they understand that implicitly, they may want to go to a different forum and go, why the hell were we lied to on this scale? Now, I've already given them the answer to keep you well and truly under control. But if you need that expanding on, you might then get into the geopolitical arguments and so forth that you want to get into the wrangle-dangle of now, or at least air it, which I hope you feel I haven't stopped you from doing, or at least tried to connect it to flat Earth, or give you the opportunity to do so, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're totally
would like
spot
to
on. People want more of an extrapolated idea for, like you said, quote unquote, why the lie, and I think that that's 100% and perfectly fits the reason for the lie. It propagates their power they're movements of power, like you said, Nathan, and they have big agendas that they want to accomplish, from gaining geographic territory to gaining mental territory in people's minds, and that's why they need to keep pushing this lie, and that's why they will not drop this lie, and they will keep going with it till the end.
Yeah, and my advice again, if people were to push me, I would say turn your back on liars. Once you appreciate that they're lying to you, like with NASA. Now we are discussing it third hand because Matan's discussing it with his stooge flat Earth guest. Well, when he's discussing it, we can comment on their views on NASA, but we personally aren't pitchforks and torches at NASA's door asking them why they've lied to us. Because you know what liars do when you do that? They try and convince you with more lies. It's idiotic. You know, you need to, or at least I feel my audience need to appreciate that once you establish someone's a liar, you have to turn your back on them.
We could just sit back and point out how very quietly in the back rooms in their documents, they're pointing out how they use the Earth as flat and non-rotational as well.
Well, and there's also putting it in the mind's eye of the person you're talking to, that it is that everyone's lying to them about the nature of Earth, makes them want to go to motive. Don't take them there. Tell them why they're wrong, and then they can do whatever they want to after that. They can assume motive. They can do all that. That's their problem at that point, once they know that they're wrong.
I see the point you're trying to make, and I agree with you. I also just think that if you're trying, let's say, if you find it important to try and wake other people up to facts and truth, sometimes having that information is good. Like, why the lie? Political gain.
Yeah, it's just not something I want to do. You know, imagine a scenario where you've got a husband and wife, and you're a police officer explaining to the wife that the husband isn't where he said he was. So as far as the wife is concerned, the husband's been at the gym from 6 p.m. till midnight. That's where he's been. Now the police officer comes along and shows images of him travelling along the motorway and then going into a industrial complex and disappearing till about 11 o'clock, coming out of the industrial complex in his AMPR tracked car all the way back home again, with images of him coming out of the industrial complex. So the policeman shows the wife the images, and the wife turns around to the policeman and goes, "Why would he have lied to me?" And the policeman goes, "I don't know. He wasn't here. He wasn't at the gym. You think he was at the gym. That's all I need. Thanks for your time." No, come back. Why would he be lying to me? Why did he tell me he was at the gym? I don't know, but I can prove he wasn't. Do you understand now? He wasn't at the gym. Here he is not being at the gym. Do you understand? Yes. But I refuse to accept it until you tell me why he wasn't at the gym. No, madam, I've got better things to do. But what about the geopolitical circumstances in the building that he went? I don't care. He wasn't at the gym. That's it. That's the end of my part here. It's not a globe. It's measured flat. Why would they lie? Why would they make rockets? I don't care. It's measured flat. Here's the measurements of it being flat used to claim it's a globe. What do you want from me? I want you to tell me why millions of people would lie to me. I didn't say they were, and I don't care that you now believe that they are or think that that needs investigation. I couldn't care less. It is just measured flat. Once the person that wants to brace against that for every reason under the sun, including every little bit of crap that they can take apart in your, no offense, Kyle, explanations for motive, because that's what they will focus on. Oh, no, you're wrong about the geopolitical situation in Palestine, Kyle. Sorry, why are we deviating away from the fact that it's measured flat and definitely not globe-shaped? Because you've got a motivational discussion to have about Palestine? Because that's easier, isn't it, than just accepting the absolute stone-cold fact that Earth is measured flat. If we can just skirt around that to a geopolitical issue, I don't have to cope with it anymore. Sod that. I then have to give them comfort for motivations that they seem to think I've got a responsibility to explain. And I don't. I know it's flat. That's it as a flat earth. That's, for me, that's the end. I don't need to do anything else. Why did they lie? I don't care. You figure that out. I turned my back on those lies a long time ago. I turned off the TV when I was 16 and got rid of my TV license, as we have to have in the UK. Dealt with all the stupid bailiffs when I was 16 years old, coming around to my house and told them to sod off, showed them I hadn't got a telly, and haven't had one since because I don't like the lies. Most people want explanations because they're so hopelessly dependent on the lies. They feel I've got a duty of care to explain them to them when they find out that they've been lied to. Nah, just drum home the truth. What's the reality? It's flat. Go on.
Yeah, I definitely see that too.
I should do a bit more on Matan. Is there any more comments on this before I do actually play the video and someone interrupts it immediately? Nope.
There are weather balloons that go up.
He didn't use a weather balloon.
Well, there are weather balloons that have gone up 100,000 feet, well above the stratosphere. Didn't see the curve.
Strato what now? Again, your heliocentric bias is leaking out of you, stooge.
The Red Bull guy jumped from hundreds of thousands of miles in the air.
Oh, the guy who did the jump?
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of miles in the air. Come again?
Yeah, he might have OD'd there.
Yeah, I think your surface puke regurgitation needs a bit of work, stooge.
That was proven to be fisheye lens, so that was flat.
So what? The horizon's not Earth curve. It was debunked in 2020, and the sky is not a vacuum.
Okay. Nathan, did he say they sent weather balloons up?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Got to get the line in, Neil. You've got to get the line in.
In reference to what? What was he referencing up? I think he's going to need a flat Earth for that, too. Because there is no up and down on a sphere.
Right, he's going to need a flat Earth for this description.
This is more just like almost like a rhetorical one, so I apologize.
Sure, yeah.
You know, how can the Earth be flat if the scientists say if it was, we'd be flat as a pancake, according to George Armstrong, brother of Armstrong?
How can it be flat because scientists say we'd be flat as a pancake? How is that even a question? That's not even a coherent question, is it? Okay.
No.
In spite of it being utterly incoherent, I mean, what do we expect? But it's utterly incoherent. But I'll try and unpack it anyway. Scientists saying is nonsensical. Science is a method of establishing cause and effect by way of suppositional statements called hypotheses, actualized by experiment. That's the scientific method. That's what, if you want to call them scientists, do if they're doing science. As for what they say, I wouldn't give it any credence when a scientist says that if the world was flat, we'd be flat as a pancake.
Well, I mean, I don't believe in gravity, so that's why I think that's bullcrap.
So is it that prior to this you both conversed about the Vsauce video where Vsauce suggested that there'd be a gravitational pull at a greater extremity on a flat disk as you went out to the outside edge of it? Because even though you had a nonsensical question, you both seem to have managed to arrive at the same point of discussion based on that nonsensical question. Ergo, this is a completely staged event. There is no way on God's green earth any two people who were unrelated and having a debate would have landed on the Vsauce explanation based on scientists say that if the earth was flat, we'd be flat as a pancake. How did he get to, the stooge, the Vsauce explanation of gravity from that, unless they're in cahoots?
And you just think he was making it up?
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, relative density, like I said.
What do you believe is relative density?
Like I told you,
Nathan,
certain things have...
Go ahead.
Yes, I definitely agree with what you're saying. And that's sort of why I alluded to my point earlier. I think this is completely contrived, and I think it's part of the agenda. As part of the bigger agenda, which goes into media control and spreading these lies, but also that they're talking about belief, right? And it's not about belief, it's about what we can prove and what we can see and what we can show. And people really appeal to emotion and belief.
Yeah, spot on.
The density that causes them to either go to the ground or rise.
Relative density doesn't cause anything, right? It's a description. And a description of relative density isn't a description of anything happening at all. So if you were to describe, by virtue of this explanation in name only, for disequilibrium, then you could describe the relative density to explain the disequilibrium of an item. For example, a helium balloon going upwards. That's a disequilibrium in relative density. You've ascribed, because you're a surface puke regurgitating stooge, that relative density is a causal description. It's absolutely pathetic. But the way he's delivering these half pieces of information with such confidence makes me know in no uncertain terms that he's just rehearsed this after researching the surface puke. Otherwise, you don't have this confidence. It's just an act.
Rise into the air.
But
that's why balloons can go into the air.
Well, that's why I explained, the sun, pulls it up, and then when there's no sun, it goes back down.
I don't think that's how it works. If we're talking
I'm
about...
not a liar. I'm not lying.
If we're talking... it is a lie.
How about lying? It's incomprehensible nonsense. Go
on. They invoke rising and falling, and they're associating what they're talking about having to do with what we observe of rising and falling, which is relative to a flat plane. Why is gravity being mentioned? That's what holds them to a sphere.
Yeah, it's a continued invocation of a flat plane description.
Yeah, they use water as the standard.
My man, put it there, brother. My man, he's telling it like it is. What do you think, Vecna?
Well, he's the moderator, so I don't think he wants to comment.
Yeah. Does he have psychic powers? Is he brainwashing me right now? Is he on Netflix? He looks like Vecna. Look at him. He's doing.
This is the.
Again, we'll skip past the bit that's appealing to the ADHD crowd that's watching this.
The round earth demons, right? Crazy people. Yeah, Vecna sees that. It's over. Okay, because you Googled, now I get to get one Google. Thanks. Yes, exactly. It's a projection.
You believe that too?
I think that's probably more likely than what they say.
So how are they, like the Truman Show projection?
Yeah, something like that. Possibly.
Or the Truman Show's the real life?
That's right. It's a clue to the realness.
Do you believe?
Do you see what I mean about the stoogey confidence in this total nonsense? It's just, like I say, a regurgitation of a surface level talking point that's been taken from Flat Earth, the mainstream version of what they want you to believe Flat Earth is. But he's got this kind of assurance in what he's saying that he's not about to be made to look like a total idiot with what he's saying, because he already knows where this is going by the sounds of things.
Believe that the one you mentioned earlier?
That it is a projection?
I'm saying you believe it's a clue, the Truman Show is...
That's someone on my panel. Go ahead.
Yeah, also, I was going to say, it seems as if...
John, then Kyle.
Thank you. Thanks. I just want to say real quick about the continuity in the movies. Movies are not really made to entertain us. They're more to make us apathetic and also to push these agenda lies. And I'm just seeing the continuity here from, let's say, Warner Bros. Pictures, where they push, let's say, globe Earth, hidden, but also now it's people don't really watch movies anymore. They watch social media, and here's the new kind of influence, and it expands to, let's say, the Palestine conflict. Thanks.
What I was going to say, not to take away from what you just said, sir, but the Glober in this situation seems extremely desperate for the flat earther to make a claim about what the stars are. And that's what this is. I believe this is about. He needs that false starting so he can stack it up and destroy the flat earther.
Like a clue.
I mean, that's what some people that are more unhinged than me say. That are more unhinged.
You're admitting you guys are a little bit crazy.
I mean, I'm a little crazy, but everybody's a little crazy. Look at this guy; he's crazy, right? This guy's a little crazy.
Again, no genuine flat earther is going to be admitting to being crazy. Well, what the hell's going on? He's playing a stereotype of a flat earther, isn't he? Yeah? This isn't normal behavior. Yeah, I'm a little crazy. No, I don't think I am, no. Why would you say that?
It's a mockery of how low the common mind has fallen.
One more time, Billy Philly.
Also, look,
I think I heard
a little off topic.
Hold on, Kyle. Go again, Billy Philly.
Yeah, I was just saying this is basically a mockery of how low the common mind has fallen.
Go on, Kyle.
Because anybody that looks at this and takes it seriously, there's they're obviously not paying attention to anything around them. So
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, what I want to say is, I've been on some live streams before, and it's about flat Earth, and I've never really, other than the planned ones with, for example, FTFE, I've never seen people passionately and intelligently defend the globe model, but I've always seen so many people passionately and intelligently defend a flat model.
What about model?
Or, awareness.
Crazy, round, crazy.
If you're round Earth, you're even crazier. Vecna is just. He's got a great jawline though. Look at that projection.
I watched it, but a long
okay.
time ago. What did they do? They put like a fake moon, or just like actually just like?
I think it was a projection that illuminated.
Fake sky.
Yeah, it's a fake sky. You've heard of the angel thing?
Oh,
yes. Do you know Admiral Byrd? Did you hear about? Yes.
Crazy.
He went to the South Pole. He went to the.
So here we go again. Another mainstream narrative surface regurgitation of what flat earthers should be parroting. So now we should be talking about the 2017 conspiratorial crap that got us here, which is Admiral Byrd and the ice wall. No, the way that we have charted and mapped the world is flat. And we can show how we had new worlds added to the charted flat world that we knew at that time, and with some of us living on them, it's an easy digest for anybody who's going to understand how the world was mapped and charted and navigated flat, expanding into new territories we call new worlds. And furthermore, at the time they were discovered in outer space, the area beyond the horizon, where the new worlds were discovered. Facts. None of which is contentious, none of which is debatable, all of which is easy to prove. But what should we, the numpty numbskulls that have come along this flat earth path that this stooge is portraying? Well, we need to talk about Admiral Byrd. Do we? Why? Because he went out into an area that would leave us speculating about this potential to find new worlds, when we've already found them on a flat charted map? No, I'm pretty sure I'd rather focus on the actual expansion of our known world to date, because that proves we're on a flat plane, because that's how it's mapped and charted and navigated and discovered. And I don't have to speculate about anything. But this narrative is the one that leaves the most bitter taste in my mouth when people tell me about how interesting it is to be looking at Antarctica. No, it isn't. If it's actually that interesting, go down there. Get whatever permits are actually required to go down there and go down there. That's how interesting it is. Go down there. Meanwhile, if you're trying to prove that the Earth is flat with it, then just show how the Earth was charted flat. It's far easier to convince somebody with something that is an absolute stone-cold fact than this speculation about what Admiral Byrd may or may not have found in some speculated about territory that's massively lied about.
He went to the South Pole.
Real guy, really crazy.
Let's tell the story. Admiral Byrd in the 1940s went to the South Pole.
Okay.
He went past the ice wall or whatever it is they say. And he said,
Well, just real quick, not to-
now
not to
hang
interrupt
on,
you.
let me finish my thought because I don't want to get distracted. This is an important thought.
Why are you doing that?
So the point is this. He said that there are fertile lands beyond the South Pole and that he predicts that in the future, there would be global conflict to...
Global conflict from Admiral Byrd in the South Pole, where you've never been, where we all speculate about. Earth's measured flat. That's how it was charted. That's all the maps show the new worlds out in outer space discovered in our recent history. Maybe you're living on one of them. Who knows? Meanwhile, that's how the world was charted and mapped and navigated flat. And that's how it's still charted and navigated to this day. That's how we use the maps, because that's how the world is navigated, with the stars that created the systems that make the maps flat. Earth is flat. There was Nathan Oakley, 1980, proving that Earth is flat, while this stooge speculates about Antarctica. Which would you prefer you went forward for in a bar discussion? Which is less likely to get your head knocked off in a heated debate? Me telling you for a fact that the world was charted flat. Here's a proof. Here's a map without any new worlds on it. New worlds, you familiar with the term? Here's a map flat, with the system flat, of the stars charted flat, with a new world on it, and a description of the man who found it out in outer space beyond the horizon. What's that? You think the soil in the sky in a vacuum? No, that's a violation of natural law. Meanwhile, easily documented, Earth was measured flat. No need for speculation, no need to look like a numpty, and no need to get your jaw broken in a bar fight because somebody says, you're an idiot, flat earther. We've been to space. We've got pictures on camera phones.
Acquire these resources, oil, you name it, whatever it is. So he said...
See, part of the story. If you haven't got oil or free energy or resources coming from Antarctica, they're going to be coming from a sky vacuum where ether energy is going to provide the world with free energy. Speculation, nonsense, garbage. Why are we doing this as flat earthers? Why? Well, because Stooge Man has told now a whole generation of 16-year-olds watching Matan that this is the way you might want to be best served arguing for a flat earth. He seems to be quite confident it's doing quite well.
This.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And have we gone to the South Pole and fought for the resources? We have not. And now...
We have been to the new worlds and then colonized them. Flat.
I'm not done. We haven't gone to the South Pole.
No, but we have found the new worlds, and we charted them and found them flat and used systems of navigation to go out and discover them flat. And when we found our way back with the stars on a flat Earth. So I'm pretty sure that I've just stacked up a whole load of chips that proves Earth's flat, and while we're left with this numpty stooge telling us to speculate about an area that Admiral Byrd apparently has got loads of oil. Ooh, sounds like there could be money to be made.
And there's a treaty that says no one can own the South Pole.
Okay.
Why is there a treaty that says no one can own the South Pole?
Real quick.
No, I'm not done. Okay. America, where you know the joke about America? If there's oil, America will be there, right? If there's oil.
So let's not focus on new worlds. Let's focus on the potential for oil. And we all know how much oil makes people. So let's worry about arguments about Antarctica rather than proving Earth's flat. This here is a chef. Now, he might not be the top chef. He might just be the sous chef. But he's slicing and dicing up the ingredients for the feast of nonsense. Here it is on display. This is how we collectively got here. Through this. Now, I appreciate this has come out in the last 24 hours, 18 hours ago. But this is the path. This is what this shows us. How did we all become conspiratard idiots not proving the Earth's flat, being laughed at and humiliated by 16-year-olds? This is how. Because your talking points come from stooges who tell you to argue about Admiral Byrd, about whether or not we got pictures from sky vacuums. That's what you're being fed. So this is the Flat Earth Talking Points 2023. Stops here as far as I'm concerned. Just prove it's flat, because that's how it's measured. Why speculate about this garbage? Because it'll make you look like a numpty, and that's exactly what they want.
oil, America will find you and they'll kill you and take your oil. Now,
I'm surprised the rabbi agrees with
America,
As the death cell. Now we're introducing this fantasy. Suddenly it's the adrenaline rush of riches and new lands, followed up by the death cell.
after World War II, was
I'm going in for the full shebango.
the most powerful country on the planet. If they wanted that oil, they could have gotten it. Now,
Why is he still using global language? Because he's a stooge.
why didn't they get the oil?
You gotta let me respond. So
Now you respond,
essentially,
yeah.
my response. I do know about Admiral Byrd when I was doing research.
Yes.
You got to let me respond. Why? I'm in the middle of making a fantastic point. Shut your mouth and listen. Earth's measured flat. Of course, that's not the point that this stooge is arguing, so he's more than happy to put his hands in front of the desk in the most confident manner and let his opponent interrupt when what, he's on a roll? Why? Was this point not worthy of an ending? Just completely concede immediately, you total stooge. Yeah, you wouldn't be doing that to me, Matan. I'd be telling you how it is. Earth's measured flat. Do you want to know how it's measured flat? Well, with elevation angle. Oh, if I just interrupt, now you can shut your little mouth.
To be clear, I know you're gonna say this is a lie. He never mentioned the ice wall. The word
No,
ice
he
wall,
didn't. No.
But let's make sure we mention it several more times so everyone knows that this is a very, very legit talking point. Earth's measured flat, navigated flat, charted flat. We've discovered the world as a flat territory. It's how it's mapped. It's how it's navigated. It's how it's used to this day. Was that you want to interrupt?
But he went beyond the south. He went
He
to the
never
south
mentioned
pole.
going beyond an ice wall. That
But he
was
went-
That was
Yeah, see, this is all this argument will take us to now. Non-stop speculation about ice walls. Because this is a nowhere subject where a flat earther can just be taken into the speculation and how it falls apart. Spin on.
possessions.
Okay.
I'm saying so. This is never. He's never talked about it. There's no videos of Admiral Byrd. It was just a notebook of an old guy who died.
Okay.
So found by his son.
Okay.
And he claimed the ground opened up from underneath him. There was a huge glimmering city. He was, and then they took him. I don't know if he said what type of transportation. They took him to the guy named the Master. You heard about that one or not?
The Master. The
word
Master.
for word. This is what he said. He
Okay,
said the
keep going.
Master.
Keep going. Yeah.
He said they took him to the Master.
Okay.
And the Master said he was disappointed in the humans. We can either believe this really
Yeah, that's all I'm thinking, Chocolate. We'll see how it goes.
crazy guy.
Okay,
according to
that's
his
not
son.
fair. That's not fair.
Crazy.
That's a fallacious
He's a very
argument.
crazy.
Matan, you know that's a fallacy.
You can't.
Again, it seems like he's gleaned this stuff from how people talk in flat earth circles. And just like, oh no, that's he's just told you a little story that didn't have an ending. Made no sense.
Okay, so
What's the fallacy? Did he identify it? Of course he didn't.
so you're saying that he's crazy.
On both of our behalf, I'll Google it, okay?
You will Google it, and it's I believe it's BIRD, BYRD, whatever. You can. The ground opened up. That's the first one. Never.
Lots of suggestions that when you find this information out and it's vague, that the best thing to do is Google it. That's been dropped in about 6 times so far. Not just Google it. Why?
So the
Go on.
Heard of that one?
does the mental competency of Admiral Byrd have anything to do with the surface you're standing on? At this point, it's so far past the topic. It's laughable.
That's how we all got here, though, isn't it? Did you not see that when you were... I know you came here via the Black Swan, but ultimately speaking, did you not appreciate while you were on that road, even though you may not have realised you were on a road at all, that's how the argument was structured for flat earthers that you were opposing? That is to say that they came up with garbage nonsense about things like ice walls that you could just laugh at.
Well, right, yeah, and I laughed at it. But when I heard it, I just laughed at it and made fun of it. And that's why I was a baller for so long, because what evidence has he given?
None. I've had to interject in between each garbage stooge regurgitation and point out that Earth's measured flat, while he gives you the general 2014 talking points and regurgitates how global things are.
What's happening with your thing? It's not a bomb, is it? Okay.
All right, here we go. We could probably just cut this out if you want, but this is from the history, 12.6 million on the YouTube.
Let me see this. What's the title? Let me see the title.
Ancient aliens, crystal city discovered under Antarctica.
Okay, we can't watch.
This is Hollow Earth. Yeah, this was pumped in about 2014 when I first got here as well. So this seems like a little bit of a gateway show for a load of numpties, because the flat earther's not getting humiliated, is he? This isn't a moment where Matan has got his OnlyFans bimbo being asked if they can read 10 book titles off to him. The flat earther's actually being portrayed as his equal, isn't he? Would you not agree? Therefore, these talking points, feast of nonsense in nature, are being legitimized, along with, make sure you Google search it.
That's the whole thing.
Speaking from a point of ignorance, I agree with you, Nathan. But also, I think that potentially he might be honest, and I think maybe he's doing a good job for someone who hasn't looked into it in depth.
Then he'd be less confident.
Yeah, but what are you talking? If you haven't looked into it, where you can know what the heck you're talking about, what are you bothering for? Unless the whole thing is staged, like Nathan says.
Or maybe it's just someone that Matan trusts, and he's the best that they have.
Yeah, as a researcher, to regurgitate the talking points.
I just turn
And
it
he's
off.
confident
Just
because
turn
he's dumb.
Go again?
He's confident because maybe he's dumb, or maybe he's just trying to make content.
I don't know. I don't necessarily wanted this to be, as I disclaimed, the focus. The focus is, what are the talking points? What do they represent? The talking points that I gleaned when I scanned through this last night were all feast of nonsense, presented in the fashion that I suspected it would be. I also suspected, last night he was a stooge. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how this comes across. So as much as this isn't 100% fresh to me, it's still as fresh as it needs to be for me to react on the spot. You know what I mean? And go, yeah, I'll see it as I call it. This doesn't seem right. Who's got their mic off in G+?
I wanted to say something. I think it's good.
Just open your mic in the middle of my sentence, I would, Neil. Thanks. Go ahead.
Forget it, Nathan. Go ahead. Continue on.
Just carry on. You don't do that either. That's even more irritating. And then top the list with leaving totally dead air. Thanks, Neil. You've managed the hat trick.
No, I didn't make it up now, to be clear.
I didn't watch it, and I don't feel like watching it. I will watch it on my own time. I'll watch it on my own time.
But I'm saying, I didn't make it up on the top of my head, the glimmering crystal city.
Yeah, but I've never heard it attributed to Joseph Byrd. I've never.
Okay, well, I don't know what research you're doing. I'm telling you from my completely unbiased. I watched
the research that it sounds like you both did together.
The Flat Earth Dave. I watched the History Channel. I read the Admiral Byrd.
History Channel's fucking full of shit.
Okay, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying I took every perspective in. This is like
fair. You know what? I agree. You're right. You're correct.
He did go to the Glimmering City and meet with the Master, who's like an alien guy.
Did we go and meet aliens out at the ice wall inside Earth? What the hell? Yeah, we measured it and mapped it and charted it flat, and I can easily demonstrate that. Beast and nonsense.
Disappointed with the humans. So I never even read that somebody thought it was owned by the Rothschilds. I think that's more of like...
That's a theory. That's a theory.
It's like a small segment. Most people believe it was like aliens. That's why it was in the title.
I've never heard of that theory. Not a lot of flat earthers believe that it's aliens. Well, that's a bit of a straw man, to be honest.
You don't believe in aliens?
I don't believe in aliens either. Fake liars, globe head demons, right? Hey.
Man, this is so wrong on so many levels. Anyway, aliens. What, little green men from a sky vacuum? Yeah, same reasons as before. You can't have little green men coming from a sky vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we breathe would fill that space, in line with entropic law. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. It's dispersion. Yeah, got a whole list of professors all saying the same thing. Yeah, gas fills vacuums. That's what it does.
So that doesn't really... That's not really an argument against the point. You're just saying that he's crazy. You're making up a story and you're saying he's crazy.
Well, but I didn't make up any story.
From his words that I read, he said that...
Where did you read this?
Well, it actually was a video. I listened to it.
And who made the video? Crazy
nobody made the video. It was black and white footage directly from him. But
it was him talking?
I believe it was him talking. It's either him talking or...
Okay.
I haven't seen it in so long.
I'm going to just give you a
let's move on.
I'm just going to give you a rebuttal.
But the point is, it's an...
Why exactly...
Oh my God.
Yeah, point of contention, Nathan. For his sky vacuum value in Tor, you're going to need a flat plane for that. Sea level.
So to describe the sky as a vacuum, you need a horizontal plane to describe that vacuum from, because it's described as the vacuum with respect to sea level. Yeah, they do. They gradiate out vacuums. Not a lot of people know that. It's described as a vacuum from sea level. Did you know that? When you have the vacuum scale, arbitrary, it's just us inventing a scale. But that scale starts at sea level in the globe Earth paradigm. That's where the vacuum begins. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. It starts at 14.7 psi at sea level. So you're going to need that level plane.
But that's how they move the goalposts. Okay, we haven't discussed this before, I don't think, on the show. We often discuss how they move gravity goalposts from 0 to 1g when you sat doing nothing and 0 is falling. But this is another way of moving the goalposts in a similar vein. So you describe the scale of vacuum starting at 14.7 at sea level, as George has just pointed out. That is the start of the vacuum if in NASA's descriptions. Where does the vacuum begin? So when they say, you say you can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. Well, what about the gradient? Well, it's just gradiated pressure. There is no real vacuum. It's just a lack of pressure. So then if you take that back to NASA's rhetoric, where does the vacuum begin according to them? At sea level. Well, normally, on previous shows, if we had discussed this, although we haven't, this is fresh to this show, we wouldn't have said at sea level. You're going to need a flat earth for that. Lamborghini flies by, cutting all the legs off everybody as it does. Because this is a flat earth proof, right? At its heart, the vacuum starts at sea level. Well, then you're going to be describing it from sea level. That's a flat earth. No, we'd have gone, right. So they say the sky is a vacuum and the vacuum starts at sea level so they can move the goalposts. Nah, let them move the goalposts. So you'll need a flat earth for that, right, George?
Indeed, it's a measurement. Anyone can repeat this. At sea level, 14.7 psi. Give or take.
Yeah, that's where NASA say the vacuum begins. That's the beginning of the vacuum.
It's just interesting to me.
Why exactly would you trust the Admiral Byrd over every single person in the world with an IQ over 5?
IQ over 5. Okay, so
if you had an IQ over 5, you'd understand how gas behavior would dictate that the sky couldn't be a vacuum then, Eaton, right? Matan.
I'm not saying that they could be telling the truth, but they don't know they're telling someone else's lies.
Again, this appeal to who's lying. No. Demonstrate what is true and infer their lies afterwards if you choose to do so. And I'm not talking to the flat earther, I'm talking to the Matan guy. You can decide whether or not you concern yourself with who might be lying. The sky isn't a vacuum. Oh no, why would they make rockets? Couldn't give a shit. Oh no, why would 10 million NASA employees lie? Couldn't give a shit. Did I say they were? Why are you listening? I haven't told me nothing. I'm not listening to NASA employees. Nobody's telling me anything from NASA. Oh, what's that? You're still watching those little schoolboy voyages to the moon on the telly? Yeah? Watching your little NASA clips? Science at NASA? Yeah, it's for the kiddies. I don't watch that crap, so NASA aren't telling me anything. So I don't need to ask NASA why they've lied to me. You do. So you go and bugger off and ask them why they've lied to you and see what they say. See how quickly they incorporate your dumbass back into their fold. Because you can't be above the 5% IQ people who think that sky vacuums can be real. Yeah, it's for the children. That's what this is, really. Whoever orchestrated this complete charade has got a 16-year-old child mocking globe believers, because that's really all this is about. The people who control you love to mock you. And a 16-year-old's calling you dumb if you don't understand how Earth's spherical. Because you're dumb, you're a low IQ individual. Meanwhile, gas-filled space, it's a law of nature. People with a high IQ understand that? No, I don't think IQ has anything to do with it. Just an appreciation of the reality that you live in, based on a description that you've been lied to your whole life, that you have decided flat earthers are in defiance of and therefore need to give you answers that your paradigms use to brainwash you with. I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to divine the motivation of anybody. I don't need to prove that people are lying. I just need to show how Earth is measured. Because as soon as you understand that, Your concerns are your own. I don't care. Go out and find out who's lying to you. Wow, that's a really, really worthy endeavour. I applaud you for finding out why they lied.
Is possibly. But I mean,
Yeah,
he really has no reason to lie. No one ever talks about it, but he has no reason to lie.
Schizophrenic has no reason to lie, but they're not lying.
Nathan,
They're just really crazy.
Well, I mean, just calling people crazy, that's gaslighting. It's not really an argument.
Crazy is like a real term to us.
Not gaslighting. Gaslighting is a term coined by psychologists when describing an aspect of psychopathy, which is to say that in the movie Gaslight, the perpetrator of the mental torture of his own wife was to make her think she was going insane. And the way he did it was telling her that he'd turned off all the lights in the house, only to sneak around after he'd claimed to have left the building, turning them all back on again. So she walked around the house, it looked like the lights were coming on and she didn't know what was going on. And that was making her believe she was going insane. That's gaslighting. Saying somebody's crazy isn't gaslighting. That's just calling somebody crazy. Making somebody believe they're crazy by doing actions that they are unaware of. Making them think they're insane. No, love. No. You didn't leave the glasses on the table exactly where you thought you left them. Aside to the audience, I moved them into a different spot and have been doing it for weeks. Yeah, that's gaslighting. You are just an idiot stooge surface regurgitator.
Associate to people.
Yeah, I suppose so,
Nathan,
but it's not.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry, Nathan. I just wanted to make a point. I'm glad that you touched on it, and also you said something that really rings with me too. It doesn't matter in the end. That's what you said, and I agree. But also, what you touched on was how the guy said that, oh, if you have an IQ above 5, then you know this, and then he lies, right? And then he says something stupid, right? And that happens to me all the time when I'm talking to globies. Like, they'll tell me that I'm dumb for thinking the truth and for thinking facts when they think they're smart, and they think on average smart people will know the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like anti-physics, let's say.
Right.
It's not a sufficient argument to say Admiral Byrd is not crazy.
Admiral Byrd is
He's a totally normal guy.
He's a crazy manic monster.
Okay, all right.
He is not honest. That I'm wrong, or you think I'm making it up?
I mean, you're making it up. It's obviously it's a show. This is all a show, and we got my so-called partner over here. No,
embedded confession.
We're having a good time. Monkey, we're having a. It's a show.
I'm talking about the flat.
The point is, I don't know. I don't really believe a lot of what you're saying.
Okay, so what do you believe? You think that I'm wrong, or you think I'm making it up?
I mean, you're making it up. It's obviously it's a show. This is all a show, and we got my so-called partner over here. No, we're having a good time. Monkey, we're having a. Yeah. Either way, let's be honest. Then Earth sucks right now. America sucks. Everything is going to shit.
Too many liberals.
Well, possibly, yes. Whatever. It sucks. And if there was another place we could go to get away from here, I think that a lot of us would want to go there.
The ice wall.
Yeah, beyond the ice wall.
Why would that
let's just assume...
So he's offering up the same sort of fantasy that the globe offers up, but with the juxtaposition of ice wall. So when I say this is Feast of Nonsense 101, I'm absolutely correct because of his juxtaposition he just made. So... he's talking about getting away from places. In the heliocentric model, it's going out to soil in the sky, rocks in the sky that you can land on. In his rhetoric, he's just dished it out by false dichotomy, or whatever you want to call it. No, we've got this place we can escape the crappy world that we live in. To the ice wall. Fantasy. And it juxtaposes heliocentrism beautifully.
So that's what it is, heliocentrists. They want to fly to other planets, and this supposed flat earther wants to go beyond the ice wall. That checks out really good.
It's just exactly what we all got hints of when we arrived here, or when I arrived here 10 years ago. There was hints of this dropped everywhere. This is so pre-packaged. It's so focused, and the delivery is just off in terms of confidence. It's wrong. So, he's just given an embedded confession with a heavy edit straight afterwards, where he goes on about how this is just a show with this so-called friend next to him. Then there's a massive heavy edit. Did he just, break character for a few minutes. What happened in that heavy edit, we'll never know. But what I do know is he just openly and overtly described how he's got a so-called partner with a fake beard next to him, and it's all just a show. Those were the words he used. Deception detective, I thank you. Take people at face value. When they say these things, they mean them. Well, he's just told you what this is, hasn't he?
Admiral Byrd was telling the truth that there are...
Well, he never mentioned Ice One.
But that doesn't. But he mentioned that there were fertile lands beyond the South Pole. He
also mentioned that he met an alien in Damascus.
I don't care about that. That's bullshit. So,
what do you mean it's bullshit?
But what he did, you did not show me anything. Let's be honest. So now you want to use YouTube when it's up to your benefit. You're being a hypocrite. You're being a hypocrite.
But I'm not doing it. I'm asking if you want to watch it.
I'll watch it later. I think you pulled up some stupid controlled opposition bullshit.
It's pretty tiresome, huh? Did someone want to get something in the middle?
He's saying that
cringe,
he believes. Go ahead, Chocolate.
No, go ahead, Neil.
So he's saying that he's holding on to Admiral Byrd's beyond the South Pole nonsense, but he also claimed that he met aliens, but he's going to discard that and believe what he wants to believe. Okay, that checks out.
Go on, Chocolate. Chocolate.
Now, I was just saying this is kind of cringe, actually.
Yeah, very much so. I suspected it would be beast and nonsense regurgitation, and that's exactly what we've got. I just didn't know it'd be so refined. But there we go. We're going to probably cover a little bit more in the after show. With that, though, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you. Smash the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Be sure to let Matan Even, if that's his name, I hope that's said correctly, know that at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Hopefully one of the moderators will put a link to his video in the live stream chat as it rounds out now. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!